Alright guys, so here we are then for the Australian GP. We had an amazing race last week, or last race week, I don't know how I should say it. But let's see what we can do today here in Australia. As we are getting underway with doing some activities. Let's see if we can fit in the ones that we want to do. We are gonna give Liam a external training just to give him that extra overall rating and everything to get him his first points. Maybe he can get those, maybe he doesn't. As you can see, we are third worst cars. McLaren has overtaken us, and with some money that we have, I wanted to use that for upgrading the durability because we really need that after our first race being a DNF. So I'm gonna go with quality control and build time, so that gives us a quicker and more safer chance on getting upgrades from there. Then we have 1.5k resource points, but the problem is or it's not really a problem, but we are using in every department almost our upgrades. So the only thing we can do is aerodynamics, and as you can see at the right top corner, we can only do one simultaneous upgrade, but I didn't know that at the time, so I tried to do two, but that didn't work. Eventually we go on in time and see that the first upgrade has worked for durability. That's amazing. And also the durability upgrades from the department have worked. Of course they only work. And another two chassis upgrades which can really help us here into Australia. Then coming on to another hot lap from Pirelli. It's raining, and you guys know from the last episode, if you haven't seen it yet, pause this video, go to there and come back straight after that. Link is in the bio. But if you have seen the last episode, you know I am not that good with supercars, and especially not in the rain. I've never done that before, so here we are trying to do the fast chicane, which isn't really a chicane in a supercar, but it's a DSQ right away. The third round was our fastest, but it was only bronze. Then coming into practice, you can see we have still cold tires as we come out of the pits. It's quite logical because we don't have those tire blankets anymore. That's not a problem though as we go through the new section of this circuit. I personally love it a lot more than that slow corner that was first. Now you really get the flow of the circuit very well. But yeah, we are skipping practice this time, and as you can see, Mick Schumacher in P2, Pierre Gasly in P3 and Tsunoda in P5, so this isn't really representative, as we are P18 with Liam Lawson just ahead of us in P17, which isn't that bad. Of course, when we had that position last time, we're kind of in between the two, so the first race was 22, the second race was 11, so we are now in the middle of that. Maybe we can get into the points paying positions today again, I don't know, we have to wait for that, but our acclaim is shooting through the roofs onto level 4 already. Maybe if we are lucky enough and have a good race and qualifying, of course, we can get to the level 5 and have our first sponsor, or extra sponsor, as we have still our main sponsor Xenon, for who we need to take 15 points in the championship. So yeah, let's try and do that. Maybe in this race, maybe not. We need to see how our durability is gonna work, and of course if we are fast enough. So wet practice of a wet qualifying coming up. And this was my first lap coming out of the pit. I didn't really have the confidence because in the race strategy only one lap was fast enough, and I didn't even get one single lap in the wet because the practice were all dry. But nonetheless, let's just try and make it our best doing the first lap. Coming to the end of the first lap, you can see we are getting slowly onto full throttle because we don't want to spin at all. We've done it a few times in practice, which I haven't shown you because I don't know. You need to leave in the comments if you want to see the practice, otherwise I will just skip that and show you where I was. But we are behind Liam.
Liam's ahead of you. Right, their best lap time is a 1:29.0.
I wanted to talk through that, but I thought let's just hear that. Liam has a 1:29.0 as we make a beautiful pirouette. But we only have a 1:30.2, so we are 1.2 seconds behind. Now coming up to the line, we make an improvement, but still not good enough to even beat our teammates. So let's just get into the pits and try another lap. Of course, coming into this last lap, I don't really have the confidence that we are going to make it through Q2. So we are just doing our best and let's just see what happens. Of course, every position higher than P22 is better. We make a small improvement of 4/10, but that is only good enough for P20 at the moment, with Latifi and Lawson still needing to improve as we were one of the first to go out. And that is us out of qualifying, and Liam oh so close to Q2. He will get there next time, hopefully. I haven't recorded that video, so I don't know at all. But let's just get straight into the race.
You can hear the Australian fans roaring as they line the track here in Albert Park. Welcome to Melbourne, and the roar from the crowd can only mean one thing. It's race day. The Melbourne circuit is certainly one that needs to be taken seriously. It's a combination of slippery surfaces and difficult corners, making it a very tricky track when it comes to overtaking. Drivers find it hard to pass and will need to take full advantage of those DRS zones if they want to have any hope of breaking through. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks like for today's race. Charles Leclerc lines up on pole position, and the smooth operator Carlos Sainz completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Perez, and Sir Lewis Hamilton, and Russell, Fernando Alonso, Bottas, Ocon, and Kevin Magnussen, Mick Schumacher, Norris, Yuki Tsunoda, and Gasly, Vettel, Ricciardo, Liam Lawson, and Lance Stroll, Joe, Albon, Latifi, and the engineer. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today? Natalie Pinkham joins me once again in the commentary box. It's fantastic to have you with us today. I'm curious though, how do you think the drivers stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
Well, I imagine they'll be starting to feel the adrenaline as they anticipate the rundown into turn one, a bit like preparing to go into battle. The unknown situation will bring nerves, but that's a good thing. It'll keep them focused on the moment and on their surroundings as we build towards the start of the Grand Prix.
After the points finished last race, let's aim to keep that momentum going.
Of course we want to keep that momentum going as we are looking at our strategy. It's going to rain at the end of the race, so I want to start on the mediums and maybe stretch them all the way through to the rain. But I don't know at what lap it will come down exactly. So we'll just try to stretch it as long as possible, and maybe with the help of some safety car stuff or anything, we can get a good position. 0.2 meters and it's purple. That's amazing. Let's get right into the race as the 5 lights are on and off they go. A quite bad start as you ask me, if you would ask me, I mean. As we are still in last place, not even close to the both the Williams. I don't know why I keep messing up my words. but getting alongside Latifi maybe. No, we don't. He just has a little bit better of traction, putting it down the inside, coming into turn 3 if I remember correctly. And it is up into P21. Maybe down the inside of Albon? No, we don't. We lose a lot of time in that corner as we made it bad through that line. You can see Latifi at the end of lap 2 having a 2.5 seconds gap. He made some sort of incident of fault.
No threat of rain for the time being. Conditions look good. Okay, dry seem like the best tyre for now.
As I was asking for the weather report, I wanted to say that Latifi had something with his wing, so he needed to replace that. As we are getting into a yellow flag, what has happened here? I see some debris on the track and is Mick Schumacher out of the race. What happened there? Let's just take a look at the replay. We can see it was an incident, and then he just straight after that went to the side of the track and thought like, I'm not finishing this race, I will go home. And also following that incident, Ocon and Magnussen are in the pits going onto the soft tires as they had to replace their wings. So this is already up into P18 with us still in the DRS, not getting that much of a tow from the cars in front, but we do our best to stay in that line. Magnussen is now 17 seconds behind, but he is on the soft compound and in free air. I don't think they will battle too much for that 19th position and will try to catch onto us as we are going through the fast chicane. And as you can see in lap 7, Ricciardo is behind us and we are now taking it onto Albon, pushing it down the inside, going the third sector. And we are up into P16, not doing that bad, as we see Lawson in P12 if I'm correctly, trying to fight for that last point paying position. I don't know if the driver in 10th position is in this train, but he is not far up ahead. So let's just hope he can do that as we try to get past Guan Yu Zhou. Yeah, so coming into lap 8, we have a little bit of a gap behind because he just fell out of the tow. And Albon also had a little incident on himself, touching the wall and going into the pits. Both Williams drivers aren't having it today. They don't have a good car. And above that, they made both, I think, the same mistake maybe. And as you can see, the gap to Magnussen is only 9.7 seconds, as he is constantly in clean air to just get those lap times in and try to come back at the front runners or maybe the middle runners. But what we do here is just a silly mistake. We go onto the grass, which you shouldn't do, but it was quite hard if you wanted to brake and in a straight line. So we lose a position to Ricciardo, and our gap to Guan Yu Zhou is now 3 seconds. So we need to make up for that, of course. And Magnussen with only 4 seconds behind, now even 3 seconds only, 2.5. But I think it's time for them to go into the pits again, because those softs don't last that long. Of course, we are going to try and get on to the softs at the end of the race. As you can see, Magnussen and Ocon in the pits. So we won't be having any threats from them, which is good because I don't want to fight too much as we want to get long with this stint and our DRS isn't working. I told Mark to get quiet because he was talking nonsense, but he just didn't say we had a problem or anything. So yeah, thanks Mark for that. As Ricciardo, Vettel and some other drivers are getting into the pits for this stop, they are going medium to hard, which I think is quite a bad strategy because the hards can last quite long, but they are pretty slow and they need long to just warm up. So hopefully Liam doesn't do the same, but I think he will, because he is an AI, of course. Coming into the end of lap 14, and yes, there it is, teammate into the pit, and we tell once again Mark to shut up, because he was talking nonsense. And because everybody pitted so early from the mediums to the hards, we are now in P9, behind Bottas and Alonso. Of course, last race they were also in front of us, but they were too far to kind of battle with or anything. And we have a yellow flag that is a Bottas with an engine failure. So that is maybe the second Ferrari engine that has gone and take a weekend off. So hopefully it doesn't happen anymore for any of the other Ferrari engines. As I say that, there is a yellow flag in sector 1. That's not good. So you can still see that Bottas' car hasn't been removed and there's no safety car yet. Carlos Sainz, who has won the first round, is now out of the session and safety car is deployed. Oh boy, can we go into the pits and last on the softs for this long? We are going to try it, as I'm gonna say, pit in this lap.
Pitting this lap then, come into the pits at the end of this lap.
Alright, so we are coming into the pits. Hopefully we can stay in the top 10, maybe P11 or something like that, as we try to turn in. And as I said last video, I still haven't changed that button to be the same, or to be different as the camera changing button. But we had an optimal pit stop of 2.3 to 2.5 seconds, and we are coming out ahead of the hometown favorite Daniel Ricciardo, and Liam Lawson in P12. This is just really good from our teammates. He has never been quite this high in any of the races. Of course, it's just the third race of the season, but we need to think already about our teammate for the end of the season and maybe next season. As I want to keep Lawson because he's quite a good driver, but coming to the end of the safety car, you can see we are in P10 on those soft tires with only hard runners around us, trying to make it around this corner. And as you can see, the green lights are on, and that means we can race again. Norris on the hard didn't have a really good restart, but we do, and we brake later than late maybe, and we get past Norris into P9. As I was trying to just ignore the strategy, it was staying in my in my viewing point, so I wanted to get rid of it, so I just pointed at it that I would go into the pits as not P23, no, that's not even in this grid, as we nearly touched Gasly. It's just luck that we didn't we didn't crash into him. As we are looking at Tsunoda, he is in front of us, not far, and as you can see, he makes a mistake coming into this corner, and he loses 2 positions to both his teammates Pierre Gasly and to me. And right after that, we try to overtake the other AlphaTauri, who is still on a little bit cold hards. And we go around the outside into the fast chicane, and that's us up into P7 with only Alonso and Hamilton in front of us, who we can possibly catch. As they are both battling, they lose a lot of time. Me trying to go around Hamilton, but it didn't quite work. Hamilton goes slowly, and as you can see, warning with Hamilton, but he draws back, and there's another car out of this race. Lewis Hamilton is out of this race, so that's bad luck for him. Of course, he isn't in that championship fight for now. Maybe he can bounce back later, but I don't really think so, as we are now in lap 22 or even lap 25. Alonso is still ahead of us, just outside that DRS window, but we still got it from the detection zone. And Gasly is coming quite close to us, as there's only 3 tenths between us. So we need to keep him behind, of course. The AlphaTauri seems quite strong at this track, so it can be that he will overtake us. I block him, and we see Latifi a lap behind. Even though we had a safety car, he's still a lap behind, and that just gives us that DRS that we really need to get away from Gasly now. We are only 5 laps away from that finish line to get off best finish ever. But here comes Gasly around the outside. He tries have a lock up, and there goes Tsunoda in front of Gasly. So now we have the other AlphaTauri trying to catch us and overtake us. Of course, they are still very close. I make a mistake and go off track, but it doesn't cost us a position as it has cost Tsunoda. So now he's only 2 tenths behind, and we are coming into this quite fast section. Our engine isn't ready yet for such high speeds, and maybe we have a little bit more downforce on the car than the others around us. As Tsunoda overtakes us, and we try to get that DRS and re-overtake him as we did in last race in Saudi Arabia, where we did a cheeky tactic to get DRS, but we can't go down the inside of Tsunoda as we touch the grass a little bit, which unsettles the car. But as you can see, it's not in our favor. The pace against the AlphaTauri just isn't quite there, as we block off Gasly once again, coming into the second to last corner. But yeah, our tires are at 60% wear, so I could feel it that they were quite gone, but we tried to hang on to get that 8th or even that 7th position. But as you can see here, the same way Tsunoda overtook us, as the rain is coming down, it's not gonna implement or interfere with our race strategy today. So yeah, that's quite sad, because I was really enjoying driving in the rain, even though I didn't really have the pace. But trying to come back at Gasly the same way we tried to get back at Tsunoda. Again, we go onto the grass a little bit, and with these wet conditions it's really hard. Coming to the last lap, here we were overtaken by Tsunoda and Gasly in this position, so let's just try to keep Norris behind as we go into that fast chicane for that one last time. Yeah, so we try with the DRS from them to still get them behind, as we use all of our overtake with only 5% left at this time. A little bit of contact, which unsettles Norris's car, and there goes Liam Lawson into P11. Can he maybe try and get Ricciardo? Ricciardo, we are now looking from his onboard, and he needs to make a correction. This means that Liam Lawson will get in front, and it's a double points finish in P8 and P9 for us. Even though McLaren overtook us on the R&D papers, we did manage to overtake them into the race, and that's us drive of the day. And as you can see, it's Charles Leclerc who won from Verstappen, who won from Paris. And yeah, we had a really good race, with both of us finishing in the points paying position in P8 and P9. Starting from P22 and P17 is just an amazing race for DNS this time, and one person in of who it has been lapped. It puts me up into P11 and Lawson into P15 in the standings. And as we go on to the constructors standings, it's us up into P6. Of course, AlphaTauri had a better race, so we won't be overtaking them any soon, I guess. And yeah, that is the race this time. Can we get to the 5th level? I think we can. Liam has leveled up to Acclaim level 6, and that's us up into level 5. I said it last time, also like P5 or something like that. But that means that we can finally get a sponsor, and we apparently had some damage somewhere. I don't know from where that came, but it cost us 20k. Going back to the headquarters after our beautiful race. We have a personal department that we are gonna do this episode. So let's see what the problem is. It's to choose between awareness and pace, and based on the last race I want to add a little bit more pace to Lawson, maybe just to get him that extra 10th for next race. But that was it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe now, it's free. And I hope I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.